Hi guys. Hey Joey, look at the camera. Look at the camera. It's really good. Look at the camera. Oh, I love you, Joey. Here, I have to show you to the whole, your public. Oh, there you are. Here, look. Oh, poor Joey. I love you. Oh, yeah. Okay, Catherine here. And I'm here to show you how to use a grid to make a transcription of a master drawing, and that's what we're going to do this week. So I have a reproduction here, and I've just talked to the library, so they have some reproductions for you to pick up at the main desk, and each person gets 2 copies of the reproduction, and I have just enough for each person. So here is a drawing that I think is really beautiful. And I'm going to show you how to make it larger and to do a transcription. We're not going to call it a copy because I'm really interested in the idea of getting the essentials translated from the master drawing to the pad. Okay guys, the very first thing I'm going to ask you to do is flip the drawing so that it's upside down. Right side up, upside down. The reason we're going to work from this drawing upside down is that it's much easier to see the shapes and not to get bogged down in making an attractive drawing of a figure. It's actually by analyzing the shapes carefully, just like the negative shapes in the hand drawings, you can get a more accurate version of the figure. So we're going to take this, it's going to be upside down. This is the bottom of my drawing. The first step that I'm going to take, and these step-by-step instructions I think are really important and helpful. So the first step, we're going to tape the drawing down. In the corner of your paper. And I'm going to make a little adjustment here because I'm lining up the edge of the reproduction with the edge of the paper over here, and I'm lining up the top of the drawing with the bottom edge of the paper right here. So that's the very first step, and I'm taped it down. Now I'm going to take my ruler and go to step 2, which is I'm going to take the ruler and I'm going to be very careful and very precise about lining the ruler up from corner to corner of this reproduction. And I have another copy of it over here. So we're talking about the corner to the corner. Actually upside down, the corner to the corner. So you line it up right from corner to corner. We're going to lightly draw a line up, all the way up the piece of paper, the large paper you're going to transcribe to. And so we're extending that line up, and I'm hoping you can see it here. So corner to corner. Now, it doesn't quite get to the corner up here because this rectangle is not exactly the same as the rectangle of this masterwork. In this drawing here, the piece of paper, the reproduction, the drawing, is wider than the proportions of an 18 by 24, which I think is a 3:4 ratio. And the ratios are really going to be important. So we've put this upside down in the corner. We've taken the ruler, laid it very carefully from this corner to this corner of the reproduction area, taken the ruler, drawn a diagonal through this, and extended it all the way up the piece of paper. This diagonal is the most important move you're going to make. Okay. The next step is to, let's see, number 4, make a dot at the top of the piece of paper on this line. And make this dot right at the very top of the piece of paper. Then I'm going to ask you to draw a horizontal across the top edge of the piece of paper. And down the right side of the piece of paper. And I'm being very careful to keep this distance consistent. In fact, we could even measure it with a ruler. So this is about 3/4 of an inch in from the edge. We're going 3/4 of an inch from the edge. We're going to drop a vertical down from here. And you see there's a little left over right here because this proportion isn't the same as this. And this is what's important, the original. Okay, so I'm going to very carefully lift this up and extend this diagonal back down to the bottom of the paper. There we go. And this goes right to the corner because that's how we lined this up originally. So this is going to be the bottom of our picture area. This is going to be one side of the picture area. This is going to be the other side. And this is going to be the top. Okay, now I'm going to remove this. So it's not going to stay here. I'm going to be drawing on this and I'm going to be drawing on that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a diagonal from the opposite corner to the opposite corner. And let's see, it's a different piece of paper, just as my ground, because the floor isn't very even up here. So here we go, from corner to corner. So I've made a big X, not from the corners of the Xerox copy, but the corners of the reproduction, from here to here to here to there. I'm going back here, and I'm going to draw an X, just like I drew it on the reproduction from here down to here, very carefully from corner to corner. So this has a big X, this has big X. It's a little harder to see, so I'm going to emphasize it a little bit more for this very stylish video that we're doing. So there, maybe you can start to see here, and here, and here, and here. Okay, next step is we're going to draw a vertical and horizontal line on this masterwork reproduction. And after we do that, through the center of that big X, we're going to do the same thing here. We're creating a grid on here, and we're creating a bigger version of the same grid over there. A lot of you may have used grids to enlarge drawings, and many of you may have used squares and inches and stuff like that. This approach using diagonals is really cool and really useful. It gives you more choices. So I'm going to measure 4 3/4 from the center of the X to the bottom at the edge of the paper, and I got just over 4 3/4. So I'm going to move this over here. Just do 4 3/4 right here, 4 3/4 right over here. And now going to draw a horizontal. I'm going to do the same with a vertical. So we measure from the center of the X, that's the guide. So a little less than 3.5 to here, a little less than 3.5 to here. I'm going to make a mark, and then I'm going to draw through the center. From the center of the X, bottom, to the top of the piece of paper, I'm going to draw it nice and dark. Okay, so we've got a big X, we've got a vertical and a horizontal here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on this piece of paper. We're going to make a horizontal right through the center of the X and a vertical. So I'm going to first measure the height of that X, and we've got 11 and let's see, 18, 16, 13, 11 and 13 sixteenths. Is that correct? I'm going to recheck it. Carpenters always say, measure twice, cut once. And in this case, I'm going to doing this with drawings. So measuring twice and redrawing once. The slower you go at this stage, the more carefully you go, the better results. This project is going to be either one of the most challenging of the semester or one of the easiest. If you follow the directions really carefully, then this is going to be one of the easiest projects. And so that's why I really want to reinforce what we're doing here. So let's see, I don't want to forget what I was doing. So 8.5 and a 16th, 8.5 and a 16th. I'm going to make a mark. Uh-oh. And I'm going to draw this right here. So now, everything I drew on this piece of paper, I did on this piece of paper. And we're going to continue on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go from center to center. Let's see if I can bring this up to show you. I'm going to draw a diagonal from this point to this point. I hope you can see it. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to get my other piece of paper. So I want this to be an incredibly easy project for you guys, and that's why I'm going slowly. So here, let's see if I can show you guys this. I've drawn from corner to corner to corner to corner from the centers. And so I've made a diamond shape right in here. And remember, this is not significant, this area here. It's the edge of the reproduction. I'm going to draw a little arrow because that's cool. So that's what's significant right over there, that contour. So if I did it here, I'm going to do it over here. So what I did with the reproduction is move from here to here, from here to here, and so on, right across here. Now I hope you guys can see that the overall proportion here is the same as the proportion right here. So this is to this as this is to this. So it's a ratio. I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to do some more drawing and I'll tell you what I've done in just a sec. Okay, so what I hope you can see here is that I bisected all of these, center and center. So we started with a big diagonal, then we drew another diagonal, then we went through center to center. Then we did the same thing on a smaller scale. So here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Then we went center to center, horizontal and vertical. And I've done the same thing right here. And so at any point I can put this back, line it up along those original edges with that diagonal, because everything here comes from here. So I have been looking at this reproduction. I've been looking at it upside down, and I see that there are going to be some areas that are more challenging than other areas. And so I'm going to break this framework that we're creating down further. So I'm going to pause it, we're going to break this down further, and then we'll talk some more. Remember to go slowly, gently, and carefully, and line up the elements very precisely. So it's always the edge of the reproduction and not the edge of the paper. So what I've done is I've broken this down into a very small grid. And everything is based on that first diagonal, and those first diagonals I drew. So you're going to want your drawing, your reproduction to look a little something like this. And then I did the exact same thing here. So if you look at this, there should be a relationship between this and this. And in fact, I can see I need to draw some more lines. I'm going to do one right here, right now, so that everything that happens on the smaller piece of paper happens on the larger piece of paper. And one thing I find really helpful is I find it's helpful to number the boxes. So I'm going to start over here, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. And maybe I'll take a picture at this point. Okay, so I have drawn a grid here, and I've drawn a grid here, and I've numbered from 1 to 8 over here, from A to H going up on the side. Now that we put effort, that I've put effort into getting a really good guide for myself, now is the easy part. If you did a good job here, this should be the easiest project of the semester, and you can just you can do 15 minutes a day, you could do a half hour a day, you could do 15 minutes in the morning, once a week, twice a week, all through the week. You know, what I was just saying sounds so stupid. You know, I hope you guys aren't laughing too much. Anyway, better for me to draw, I think. So, guys, it really doesn't matter where you start. I'm going to start in a place that I think is a little challenging for me, and so that makes me excited to really get into it. So, I think all of us need to keep developing our abilities with hands and feet and a lot of other parts of the body. So I'm going to go to a square, and remember this is still upside down. that has a foot in it, and it's 5H, which is all the way up here. So I'm going to scoot down, and what all you have to do now is mark whatever you see over here, we're going to place over here. So we're marking, what I do is I start by the intersections where the grid intersects with the drawing. So there's a line that goes here, there's an edge that goes here, and I'm sneaking up on this. In a way, I'm reproducing the overlaps. So I'm going to use a light touch, and if I discover that there's an area that's really challenging, then I can break the grid down more. So notice how the front of the leg is to the left of this little area right over here. So I'm making a mark right here, and I'm even going to draw the shapes of the shadows, because once again, we're not going to be working with light and shadow, but you can draw the shapes that the shadow makes, the contour of the shadow. And it actually continues over here, continues over here. And one of the cool things about this grid is that you can jump around. I'm not going to spend any more time in that area right now. I'm going to come back to it a little later. I'm going to jump to another place on this drawing. So I'm going to actually get going on another challenging part, which is the hand. Let's see if I can hold this up to the camera, and if you can see that there's a hand right there. And let's see, that is in box D5. So I have 5, I have D. So it is a little, I think of this as a little like a jigsaw puzzle. So I'm starting with the overlaps, where the grid overlaps the marks that create the hand. And so I'm kind of making a calculation with every mark I make. And I'm not so much thinking about making a nice picture of a hand as I am reproducing the shapes that I'm seeing. So I'm making these little marks, and they're all kind of little overlaps. And if I discover that I've done something wrong, well, that's the beauty of having the eraser. So going around like this, I'm hoping we're recording. And so I'm mapping out the elements that I see, and I'm working upside down because that's going to help me keep my objectivity. So let's see, this is going to go over here. So I'm making it's like a little bit of a shorthand. And I can jump around as much as I want, and in fact, it's a great way of bringing this whole thing up as a totality. I'm working over the whole thing, so we're going to jump somewhere else. We work down here, we work down here, up here just a little bit, so down here and up here. I'm going to come around and place this elbow, and that's in box C7. So C7, so 7, it goes up like this. And where is this? I need to orient, and in fact, I can see that I've forgotten to draw a line. I'm going to pause this and add another line in here. Okay, so I actually figured out that I hadn't made a mistake, that I had the lines I need. Let's see if we can figure out where that was again. So C7, right over here, that is where the elbow is overlapped by the grid. And it goes something a little like that. Now I'm starting with the silhouette, but we can develop the cross contour, since that's part of the goal here with this drawing, as it was with the shoe drawing and the hand drawing, is to create the third dimension. And the drawings that I've chosen for you to work with are drawings that have really beautiful cross contour. Okay, so I'm working on this. Let's continue to another spot. Let's see, I'm going to start working on the other leg. So that is box F4. So here we have box F, and 4. So right over here, F4. And so I see the side of the leg, coming down, and we have the calves, also called gastrocnemius. I love the name of that muscle. So I'm continuing with the contour, and I'm going to pause this. So I've been working on this. I've been keeping the pencil sharp, and I've been moving to different places in the drawing so that I can bring the whole thing up as a totality. It would be easy to get bogged down in one area and spend the next 2 hours in one area here or somewhere else. But if I jump around, I can keep it unified, and it will resolve itself as we move from the general to the specific, which is really what. So I'm thinking of this not so much as making a copy, but as getting to understand more deeply the proportions and the kinds of marks that we have here. And I'm going to see if I can turn these. And I've been taking still images, but maybe I can get a little bit better lining it up, trying to line it up. Okay, ooh, maybe I'll put this on this side. There we go. So I'm hoping you can see how this is going to start unfolding, and there's plenty more to do here. But if you do a great job with the grid, this should be easy, and you're just going to whittle away with it, So, well, before I say anything more that sounds garbled, I'm going to sign off, but I can't wait to see you guys and see what you do with this. Oh, and that's, by the way, this is Catherine signing off. So I'm going to wave. Oh, I should be aiming my face.